But it's not a simple situation. You have to read the history of all of that that I've done.
In his 91 years, Jean Chrétien hasn't just read history, he's lived it, helped shape it.
We can develop a fantastic society for every Canadian.
I will try to bring us together by appealing not to what divides us, but what unites us. But if it must come to war, I argue that the world should respond through the United Nations.
Some of that history on display at the Jean Chrétien Museum in his hometown of Shawinigan, Quebec.
But it's a gift that George W. gave to me.
Yeah. What do you remember about getting that baseball bat
I
from
laugh
George W.
because,
Bush?
you know, the problem with him, very different than Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton loved to argue, wants to convince you, takes a long time. George was very different. He will have a position, he will express it, you have a disagreement, will rapidly agree to disagree and start to talk baseball and talk football.
Beyond occasionally surprising visitors by introducing himself.
Bonjour. Mon nom est Chrétien.
More than 2 decades after leaving politics, Chrétien is finding lots of ways to keep busy. I thought this was remarkable. You were in Ukraine in August. Why? Why did you decide?
Because I wanted to go to Ukraine. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I was impressed by the resilience they have. It's extremely difficult for them, but they're still fighting.
You mentioned, you knew Putin. Are you surprised that he went this far?
Yes, but it was coming. This I realize now.
He still has a lot of opinions to share too, particularly on the United States and Donald Trump.
We're living through a period of enormous change. We don't know what will be the result of it. Suddenly the Americans are going down like 1918. Complete protection is closing the border.
You said during the first Trump administration that when it comes to free trade, you can't reverse an omelet. But we see this second Trump administration is acting with an intensity that is unlike the first one. Do you think free trade with the United States is in jeopardy?
In reality, we never had a real free trade agreement. They signed it, but they were not respecting it during my time. We'll go to arbitration, we'll win. And they would say, so what? So always to renegotiate. It was always, very often, a negotiated deal we had on a daily basis. When it was suiting them, they would use the free trade treaty to justify their move. But when it was an embarrassment for them, they didn't pay attention to it.
But it's pretty different than taking on the whole world the way they are now.
But, they will have to live with the reality. We need them, and they need us very much.
One of the first issues on Chrétien's desk in 1993 when he became prime minister was ratifying NAFTA. He didn't get some of the changes he wanted, but there was an agreement Canada wouldn't be forced to make large-scale exports of water.
And I'm very proud that I excluded from the treaty water that was in the treaty before. That will become, in the next generation, extremely important because we have 20% of the fresh water in the world. It's a hell of an asset.
Does Donald Trump want our water?
He wants it. Of course he wants it. He wants everything that is good in Canada. It's ambition is one thing, but it's not available free. You will have to negotiate. It is in our interest to have good relations with the American, and it is in their interest to have good interest with us.
I would like to understand, you dealt with so many world leaders over the years. There is something unique about what Donald Trump is doing right now. He says he hates his enemies. He is relying on executive power to get a lot of things done. Immigration raids where people are being handcuffed in the streets. Do you think Donald Trump is a threat to democracy?
He is. He is. Because he does not care much about the rule of law. And the Western society is built on the rule of law. When there is no more rule of law, It's blackmail on a daily basis, and it's not working. You will not be there forever. And there will be a price to pay for that. I don't know what will be the result. It could cause a lot of problems south of the border. This seems to run away from values that made the United States these days.
So does it bother you then to see world leaders? I mean, world leaders are generally, they flatter him, they appeal to him. Prime Minister Carney calls him a transformational president. You say he's a threat to democracy.
Yeah, but it's not a good transformation.
Yeah. But should world leaders be more vocal about the threat he poses?
But the problem is we have to fight for our values that are well known. So we are a trading nation by nature. We produce minerals, we have wood, we have to sell it, we cannot use it all in Canada. We have electricity, we have energy more than anybody else. So it's an asset that we should use, but we should sell too. So, it's complicated, and the world will be different, and we'll have to adjust. But if you ask me if I'm very pessimistic, I said no. I've been around. I was the president of the Young Liberal in 1956 at Laval University. You were not very old. And, so I've seen a lot of periods. Sometimes we were more or less discouraged. We thought it was terrible. We had violence, we had terrorism in Europe, and murder all the time, and so on. We look back and we went through it. So today we face, as I had to face all my life, a wall that I thought the hell will get over or around it or underneath it. But at the end of the day, we managed to do it. So I think we'll manage again.
As he managed in politics, he had a confidant. Part of this museum is dedicated to Aline Chrétien, his wife of 6 decades. She died in 2020. What is it like for you to come here?
They've done a good job. And, I would not have been prime minister if she had not been my companion.
Why is that?
She was 16 and I was 18. And when I started to get involved in politics, she was always around and applauding, commenting very privately, and telling me the truth, the real truth. And it was extremely useful.
He says she kept him connected to the people of Shawinigan, and that on tough issues, his staff would try to get her to change his mind.
The last appeal was to go to Aline. He said, it's the last chance we have.
And did it work sometimes?
Sometimes. So this tower has become the symbol of Shawinigan.
The tower as the symbol of Shawinigan? Maybe. Or is it Chrétien himself? Nicknamed the little guy from Shawinigan, his political legacy defined in part by his fight to keep Canada together in the 1995 referendum.
Le nom vient de prendre d'avance, vous avez remarqué?
3 decades later, the conversation about national unity has shifted, his views still firm.
This trade war is causing tensions within the country, different provinces.
On the contrary, it's a united Canada more than ever.
Even when you see BC saying softwood lumber isn't necessarily getting the attention that autos is.
Madame, it's been always like that. Blaming the federal government, the tension between areas, it's always been like that. Never changed.
It's not only Quebec now. There's an Alberta separatist movement too.
Yeah, but they should all read the Clarity Act.
That's the law he passed saying any province wanting to separate needs a clear majority and a clear question, intended to deal with Quebec.
Do you want to separate from Canada? When you have a poll with these words, it's clear they don't want that. But if you tell them we can have a better deal, everybody wants to have a better deal.
But what's happening in Alberta right now?
Yeah, but Alberta is a landlocked country. Look at the Premier. Now she wants the federal government to intervene in BC to help Alberta. But don't do anything in Alberta to help the rest of Canada. Oh, no. Come on, you cannot double talk all the time like that. And it's a landlocked country, province. How can they build a pipeline? They will have to go in the north through Canada, to the east through Canada, to the west through Canada. And I wish them good luck to have oil pipeline in the state of Washington to go to the Pacific.
Do you think there's a new pipeline? Not just that one. There's also, Mark Carney revived the idea of Keystone XL. Do you think there's a new pipeline in Canada's future?
It is an economic thing. Apparently, there is nobody who wants to do it by the private sector. So the bad feds will have to pay for it. You know, the market forces exist. And there is. You know, they never sold as much oil as they do today. And they're complaining as if they were bankrupt. Come on.
Talk like that is unlikely to go over well in parts of Alberta. But here in Shawinigan, Chrétien is adored.
Parce qu'on l'aime beaucoup.
We love him very much. He's done a lot for the city, she says.
He's like a father to everybody, you know. He's always there, and if you want to talk to him, he's always going to wait, and he's always going to be there. Until he dies, he's going to take good care of Shawinigan.
Bonjour, madame. Comment ça va? Merci de nous recevoir avec les gens de CBC. At least 10 years I'm working with them.
He's helped set up several social services here, including this palliative care home. The Maison Aline Chrétien is open to all for free to be supported and cared for in their last days. Chrétien is deeply proud of it.
You know, those who contributed.
He's like a part of the team because he's always very gentle, very polite, and we are always happy to receive him up there.
Recently, Shawinigan had a celebration for him, a thank you for all the ways he's shaped history and helped shape Shawinigan itself.
You know, it's a small town, but it's my town.
In your head, it's still home?
Oh, it's my home. I started here and I will finish here.